Hello, it's probably Sharon. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to go over some writing cards that are in the shape of birdhouses, so they have a little bit of different personality than what we're used to, and it's good to have a variety for our junk journals. So we're going to start off with showing you how to do Crackle Paint really quick, and then we're going to start building some cute little birdhouses. It's very simple and lots of fun, so let's get to it. Okay, to start off, I just have an insert that was in a package, and it's cardstock, about the same as, I would say, cereal box. And to do this Crackle Paint, you have to put down a layer of, an acrylic paint. Then you let that dry, then you put down the Crackle medium. Let that dry, and then you put the final coat of acrylic paint, which is contrasting with the original color, so that through the cracks in the paint you can see, you can really tell there's a difference. So normally I actually put gesso down first, but this time I'm just going to go straight and put down the paint. If you have already seen this part with the Crackle Paint, you can go ahead and skip to the next chapter if you want, and we'll move on with putting the little birdhouses together. Yeah, so doing this Crackle Paint, you normally will need to use some kind of cardstock or cardboard. If you try to do it on paper, even if it's cardstock, light cardstock, it will curl the paper. I mean, I've tried to even put down gesso first, and you still get like a curl. So, I mean, you can play around with it, but I just feel like it's better to use the cardstock. So after I get this coat of paint on, I will let that dry, and then I will come back. Okay, it's time to put on the Crackle medium. I mean, you could put it on a little, in a little dish or something like that, but I just like to do it like this. Spray it right on whatever I'm working on. But it's up to you. So just make sure we cover that really well, and then we'll wait for this to dry. It usually takes about an hour, but I am working in the basement today, and it is extra cold. The air conditioner's on upstairs, of course, and because, it's getting to be hot outside, and unfortunately it makes it super cold downstairs, so it might take a little bit longer than an hour, but I'll be back when it's dry. Okay, this is dried, and I will say you don't need to put it on as thick as I did. You can do a thinner coat than that, and it will be just fine. So I'm going to put light blue. I don't have light blue, so I'm just kind of making my own. So I've just put a little bit of white and blue and a touch of brown. So I'm just going to mix that up and then paint it on. I'm going to do the opposite way. I went back and forth with the Crackle medium. I'm going to go up and down with the paint. Try to do long strokes, because it's like it starts to react with the Crackle medium almost instantly. And if you go over it again, oops, yeah, you don't want to go over it again, because it tends to kind of give it a different look on the places that you go over twice. You can see it starting to crackle. I'm just going to kind of speed through this part so you can see it crackling. All right, it's all dry, and what I'm going to do is cut out a section of this. I'm going to make like a fold out tag. So I'm going to cut, if I can maneuver here. That side is a little, it was cut a little wonky. So I'm going to cut a strip that is 4.5 inches by 7 inches. And what I've done is I've already got a piece of legal sized cardstock, and I've cut a 4.5 inch. Wait, did I miss? No, wait, that's the wrong one. 4.5 inches. Here we go. Yeah, I folded it in half and cut off a 4.5 inch section so that we can use that for our birdhouse card. So what I'm going to do is glue this to the card. It's going to be folding out from the bottom, so the top of my birdhouse will be here. So I'm just going to glue this on with a bit of glue. If I can get the lid off. And this cardstock is thick enough, so I'm not going to be able to see all of this print. It will not show through the card. So you do want to make sure that your paper is thick enough that it's not going to show through. Okay, now for the roof, choose whatever color that you want. I think I'm going to use this craft color and make kind of a steep pitched roof. So I'm going to cut 2 strips off of this that are not super thick, but not super thin either. It's about, how much is that? It's about 3/4 of an inch. And now you'll be able to kind of see. I mean, you'll want to use something heavier than copy paper for the roof, because you are going to have little edges poking off, and you want them to have a little bit of strength at least, you know, so they don't bend. So just kind of figure out where you want those. It's a little wonky. You know, before we even put those on, we should, if you do want to do any inking around the edges, it would be best to do that now. Because once they get stuck on, once the roof gets stuck on, it's going to be a little bit hard to get right up there next to where the roof is. And these top corners are going to be cut off, so I'm not focusing on those top corners too much. And actually, I better ink these too. Sorry about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, there we go. So let's see, I'm just going to do the glue right on there, maybe. Okay, that should dry quite quickly. So then I'm going to trim along here, along the roof line. It's kind of hard to cut through that with your scissors, with all that paint and stuff. And I need to cut the back too. What am I thinking? Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to just trim off the edges of the roof. I don't want it sticking out quite that far, but this is kind of personal preference. You can, you know, trim it to the way you like it to look. And I'll have to ink that a little bit where we cut it. There we go. All right, so we're up to a good start. So I'm going to need to take it up to the sewing machine and stitch around this first panel. Before I do that though, I want to decide if I want to sew on anything on the roof. I was thinking maybe using this lace and stitching that on. I thought that would look cute. Also, I want to put some kind of a loop on the top. I could do, you know, a hole and an eyelet and all of that, but I thought I'd do something a little different and maybe sew on a little loop at the top. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and do that, and I will be back. Wonderful. Look at how it's looking. It's looking really good. I just love that crackle paint. It looks just awesome, and it goes really great for a birdhouse. So I'm really excited about this, if you can't tell. So next what we need to do is we need to decorate this up a little bit. I have some holes that I've punched out of some black paper, so I'm going to just stick one of those on. I've made a few different sizes, so depending on what size of birdhouse I'm working on, I have a few different options, but this size seems like it will be good for us today for this birdhouse. Okay, and I mean, you could do a lot of other things, especially with this type, you know, of the crackle paint. You could do some stenciling or stamping over the top. There's a lot of different possibilities for this. What I've done is I've got a little piece of a book page I've torn out and then inked around the edges, and I'm going to stick that on. I mean, you could even make little pockets or, you know, different things. So I'm going to tilt that a little bit. And then I've got a piece of burlap that I'm going to stick on as well. I've just kind of frayed the edges of it. And then I've stamped a little number I'm going to stick on here. I mean, you're probably thinking, why a number? But the way I see it, the little bird that lives here needs to have an address so he can get his Happy Mail. So we're going to give him a little address on his house. All right, we'll just let that dry for a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that I want to move on to, I thought it might be fun for the next one to do one with the Crackle Paint, but maybe sections of different colors of Crackle Paint, so we can get kind of stripes in our birdhouse. Of course, I have lots of other colors that I've done, so, but I do need to take a little section of this one that we did together. And let's see, I have pink and I have tan. That probably should be good. So here's the other half of that paper that we just did on our last tag. I don't necessarily want to make this a flip up, do I? I guess we can. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste different color strips of the Crackle Paint that I have already cut up. Let's see. I have pink. That's kind of, now see, this one is one I did on craft paper, and you can see how it curled. Yet I did this one on the same paper as this, and it was okay. So it's like, it kind of depends on the paper whether it curls or not, but I know I mentioned that before, so I just kind of wanted to show you the difference. All right, now I want to trim off this excess. And I mean, what I did was I went on Google and I just looked up images of birdhouses so I could get some ideas of different shapes and sizes of birdhouses, and just kind of took the ones that I thought looked the cutest and went with that. So rather than doing it square this time, I'm going to have it taper up. So what I want to do is mark up here. You might be off camera, but I'm just using my little ruler and I'm going to mark in about a ½ inch on each side. Wait a minute. It's the wrong way. ½ inch on each side, take 2. Okay. Then I'm going to get my, I mean, you could just use your scissors too, but, so this is the bottom, because this is where it's going to flip. So I made little marks, so I'm just going to go from this corner to that mark, so I can make kind of a tapered shape to our birdhouse. Okay. Now we're going to have to do a roof for this one. I think we'll go with black this time. So again, I'm just cutting a couple of little strips of black. Okay. So this is just kind of like we did before. Just going to glue these down and make a, you know, however steep of a roof that you want. Okay, that was a little hard to cut. It's really thick with the paint and the 2 layers of paper, and yeah. So just going to trim these. And then on this one, I thought we could do something different. Instead of doing the lace, where did it go? Thought we could use some of this riffraff. Sorry. Rick-rack, right? I do that. I don't know why I do that. I think that's how I remember what it's called, is riffraff, and then I end up saying the wrong thing. So I thought maybe we could do something like this for this one. So I'm also going to put a loop on the end. I don't think I'm going to sew around this one this time. I'm just going to do up around the roof. Okay, got that done. Now I'm just going to ink around the edges a little bit. I should have done this before I put the roof on, but that's okay. We'll just do it now. Okay, we'll stick a circle. Okay, I don't know if this one necessarily needs anything else. It looks good the way it is. I mean, with the different colors going on, I think that one will be fine. I don't think we really need to add anything else. That is sticking out. Is it sticking out, or is it just my imagination? Just ink it up a little bit. So I think this one is good as is. I don't really want to add anything more. I did some off camera that I want to show you that I didn't use the Crackle Paint. Well, I did on some of them, but I just wanted to show you some of the different options. And the ones that I made off camera, I didn't make them flip outs or flip opens, whatever. They're just writing cards, just front and back. So this first one, I'm not super proud of. I did this out of book page, and then I just took little strips of some natural dyed papers and put them up here. It just looks too plain, and no matter what I put on here, I just can't make it look good. But I did want to show you, you know, you can use book pages. Here's another one that I did with the Crackle Paint. On this one, I got some of that, well, let me grab it. It's this massive ball of leaves, binding leaves, I got for my 3-tiered tray that I put in my living room to decorate for all the holidays. Obviously, I'm never going to go through that much on my tiered tray, so I incorporated some of that into this little tag, and this was on cereal box, so it's really sturdy. This is one, it was a scrapbook paper that I put gesso over the top, and then I stamped and did some stenciling, and I just used a piece of that, and I think it turned out really cute. Here's one that I did with music paper, and it has the same house number as the other one. I hope they don't get their mail mixed up. And then this is the first one I did. I kind of cut the roof, I cut it this way instead of this way, so it looks a little funny, and then I put this on the bottom with a little flip-up tag with a bird on it. I thought that would be cute. And then this one is actually, I think, my favorite one. I did this out of scrapbook paper. It had a flower on the print already, and I just put the, you know, the bird circle, the hole, in the middle of the flower. And then on the roof, I did it kind of a bend to it, so it wasn't just straight. Then I put a little bit of burlap and a lace here with a rusty safety pin, and then a little tag with a bird stamp on it. So, and I did leave the strings on this one too, because I kind of I like the look of that sometimes. So I hope that you found some inspiration today in this video, and thank you for staying until the end. I very much appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you when I create my next video.